consider factually some elusive truths. If 10% of the human populace in this country are sick all the time, and that's about right, and it appears that 75% of them are not going to reach the harvest year period, which I consider should be the last 25 years of 100 or more, how come? Each one of us, shortly after birth, was consumed with a powerful demand to move, to exercise. He tried everything, about every minute of the wakeful day. You couldn't keep up with him if you tried. He did no studied thinking out how to do things. He just barged right into every act and got mischief punishment for it. Why? Well, because he wanted to. He couldn't have been driven to such performance if he hadn't wanted to. Neither can you now. That's the first principal fact. Next, let's take a peek at how we differ from the dumb brute family. When you get right down to physical analysis, the one big difference resides within the skull. We think. The brute uses instinct. We graduate from that stage somewhere about 1 year old. The animal doesn't take pills, antibiotics, complain daily about headaches, backaches, stomach aches, or the blahs. He'd have to have a brain to do that. And perhaps it's because he doesn't have a brain that he doesn't suffer them. At least he doesn't sit around for hours in Doc's office or lie around in a hospital. By no means 10% of him doesn't. He doesn't get any alcohol, nor smoke any cigarettes neither, nor tear up the freeway at 80 miles per hour. And barring accident, he'll have a pretty good chance to live out his appointed span in pretty good health, while an enormous percent of us humans today are facing heart attack, cancer, arthritis, influenza, common colds, emphysema, muscular dystrophy, paralysis. Ever see a paralyzed cat? Diabetes, tuberculosis, ulcers, hay fever, acne, boils, leukemia, warts, corns, colitis, cholera, smallpox, diphtheria, polio, dandruff, jaundice, biliousness, cirrhosis, hepatitis, bunions, hangnails, wear glasses, hearing aids, and go get the medical encyclopedia for 100 more ailments that we put up with, because we have brains to smoke, drink, carouse, speed, prepare and eat, and drink fantastic potions designed to slowly kill off the humans so the animals can take over? Or just to dream up recreational pursuits to enjoy hangovers with? Have fun. And a finger-licking appetite, a rotund midroof, a chronic wheeze, fallen arches, and early demise. Talk about a dog's life. Well, who wants to be an animal? They miss an immense amount of joys possible only to humans, who have these satisfactions because we have brains. We can seek out ways and means to live longer, too, if we seek to go about it. And we don't need to go on a foreign hunt to find wholesome things to do, most of which entail pleasant exercise after school's out. And school's out every day, not just 2 weeks in the summer, July 4th and Thanksgiving Day and New Year's. Those exercises take too many work days to get over and rest up from. A bit of exercise daily is a potent pep pill and a rest-upper. And somehow the individual who gets that habit just seems to acquire a distaste for a diabetic diet with the insulin supplement. Most any sensible human won't have any difficulty agreeing with us so far. Quite a number of years ago, a young man wrote a bestseller called How to Win Friends and Influence People. Everyone read it and either learned something or condemned it, and affected his own destiny thereby. Hereby lies another truth to put in your diary. Humans are social animals. Few things we care to do are done alone, unless they are done with concern for other folks. And right here's our next great powerful truth. Start doing your exercising with someone else, at least a part of it, and you'll find yourself miraculously wanting to do it. Also, we are so set up that this want makes the therapy tenfold more potent. Just one more great truth, and we have plenty to ensure our start on the new program. There is one feature about anything you do that lures you inevitably: newness. The fun you had and remember longest with pleasure is forever the first time you went there, with brand new friends, and did unusual things, and came away wanting to go again, or do something with the new friends. The system we propose to present to you will be our best effort to be different, new, desirable, and fun. I'd like to talk for a few minutes about vacuums. Of course, when I discuss vacuums, I am talking about nothing, for that's what a vacuum is. However, there are some very powerful facts we should be concerned with, closely related to vacuums. In the first place, there is size or quantity. Vacuums on our planet are incompatible, so we've come to consider them unnatural, foreign, negative, and utterly unwanted here. But our planet is the tiniest speck of our universe, which is principally composed of vacuum. There is more vacuum than anything else. The astronauts covered nearly 1,000,000 miles of it on their trips to the moon. When they got there, the moon was nothing but a hole in the vacuum. In fact, a very tiny one. It would seem that a vacuum, being nothing, could have no functions, no value. However, place one in certain environs, and it becomes mighty important. For everything seems to want to rush in and fill it up. On our little planet, the environs, open spaces, are filled with atmosphere, which has what we call weight, and weight, whatever that is, rushes towards some mysterious force we call gravity, in which process the vacuums get filled up. Your doctor can create a vacuum in his tiny hypodermic needle, which will fill up immediately with a valuable antitoxin, which may save your life. Without a vacuum, your thermometer would be useless. This property, due to pressure of a mobile substance attracted to our Earth, is not unlike another property we possess, without which we would be in desperate circumstances indeed. For want of better understanding, we call it affinity. In many million ways we exist by reason of affinities. We don't need to know what they are, only what they do. The science we have, named chemistry, which baffles our understanding, exists by reason of affinities. When you exercise for a while, you get hungry, which is your body cells calling out by the billions for food and nourishment. When they get it, their lives are saved, and yours. And when it comes along, your vascular assembly line fingers reach out and grab it and pull it into hungry tissues. And they get charged up again, ready to supply the energy for more exercise. Every child is born with an astonishing desire to exercise. He doesn't know why, doesn't care, just wants to get going. Just try and imitate his gyrations and you won't last more than a very few minutes. We would be very fortunate indeed if we could preserve this insatiable faculty of motion, producing appetite, self-satisfaction, and desire for more exercise. To an extent, we do for a vastly varying percentage of our years. And this is something I want to discuss, for more and more, as research and observation progresses, conviction grows that your life pattern is closely related to your exercise pattern. Given the proper quantity of nourishment, balanced with enough muscular or tissue energy expenditure to burn it up and create wholesome tissue hunger again, there is small reason to doubt your chances of enjoying 100 years or even more. Of course, you will need to do some dodging, avoiding emergencies over the years, for an alarming increase in accidental termination of your lifespan marches apace with population explosions. Your government has been quietly conducting an environmental geriatric experiment with men past 60 now for 2 years, with hundreds of volunteers in numerous locations, shared by various university laboratories scattered from coast to coast, based upon theories by frontline scientists, and life extension depends upon the facts we have just considered. We may be in for some startling reports at any moment now. How would you like to feel that from age 10, when your youngster begins to make decisions for himself, he can so shape his pattern for living based upon prevention factors, together with the selection of nutrition and physical indulgence in exercise, that he may be pretty confident of enjoying the next 100 years or even more? How'd you like that? Scientists may be on the verge of just such a breakthrough. Get a little tired by enough exercise often enough, and you will create a vacuum in your tissues, muscles, bones, nerves, organs, yes, even your brain, which will pull on your metabolism assembly line for the processed food elements they need. You can make your tissues call for energy and or rehabilitation materials at will, and enjoy growth in power and efficiency. You're going to eat anyway. Why not do selective eating and selective exercising purposefully? Everything you eat has only 3 places to go. 1, into cold storage as fat. 2, out with the garbage. 3, into energy, growth, or add-on years. It may not cost you a cent, and it may earn you a fortune. Anyway, you can't lose, so why not get with it? You don't need to be only 10. Our government is trying it out on 60-year-old specimen and getting encouraging results. Of course, you'll have to indulge in some quitting. 9 out of 10 of us need to do that, because we weren't properly informed during yonder years of facts you can read in any magazine or hear on any TV today. Every human privileged to inhabit this earth today will have a life to live on 3 plateaus. 1, the informative plateau. 2, the functional plateau. 3, the harvest or profit plateau. The last of these three should and can be at least as great a period of happy living as either of the former, and may become the happiest and the longest. The harvest has always brought the most satisfactions. It should be the best years of your life. Unfortunately, most folks never have any harvest years. You can, will you? The balance of this film is going to be an exploration or an assay of the minerals of living in brief episodes. First, I'm going to take up one thing here that I think is very interesting. Thoughts are things. Every human surrounds himself or becomes surrounded with a personal, unique aura of influence. You may know someone who, upon entering a room, sparks everyone in it. He exudes a dominant wave, something he sheds upon all present, whether it be good or evil. You can't see it, hear it, smell it, but you can surely feel it. Study that man. Try to learn the secret of his power over his fellows. Some sort of light shines from or is reflected by him. If you get curious enough, you'll find out what it is, for it is no secret to scientific research. He is reflecting from within the power of personality. We all do that just a little. You are doing it yourself. No matter how you may attempt to hide, thoughts are things, and they are tools that carve you into what you are. And here's the miracle. Thoughts are, or can be, voluntary. Your choice. Whatever is good, think thou upon this, and station a think guard at the portal of your mind, who shall post a notice to all comers, thou shalt not enter here without the master's permission. So, start a selective system with today's thoughts. Choose your thoughts. Choose your character. Choose your reputation. And you choose your destiny. Think. Stop enjoying the memory movies. For what you think is what you become. You have a unique power to think what you wish. Infinite, with no limit. Why, you can even think a brand new thought that has never been thought before. Einstein did, Edison did, Henry Ford did, and they had each a brain not varying an ounce from the size of yours. You all started even. They indulged in selective thinking, while you and I have been doing a lot of remembering, too much. Why don't we try selective thinking? Fun. To my knowledge, this word fun has had a kaleidoscopic orbit around 3/4 of a century. Today, it just doesn't seem to mean what it did in 1900 to 1910. Somewhere in the past 20 years, fun metamorphosed like a chrysalis, and in the transition or translation lost a degree of absurdity, like its parent, fond, or grandparent, fondle. You can't be fond of the guy who fondles the truth. Like fun you can't, and you've got an argument. Today, I can call you a great fun-loving joker and get away with it, when 50 years ago the insist beware. Today, fun means constructive joy, not constrictive joker. I like it that way. So I'm going to brave the critics and have fun with it. I'll even move it up to the dignity of a verb and fun around as much as I wish. One of the dangers a writer must forfend is the free use of claptrap expressions like taking the wreck out of recreation. Use it once, and you're done with it. It's lost its lure in repetition, but not fun. It seems everyone has fallen in love with fun as a word and as a program in activity. It's become a word you get a degree of fun using, and fondle's a real punch at the end of the letter you're afraid to sign with love. Just say, have fun, and you've heated up a lukewarm friendship. The potency of those three letters is nowhere greater than in the philosophy of reward living, which, by the way, is a panacea for most of the evils in life, if you can locate an effective recipe. For fun living is reward living. Though in 1925 I would have hesitated to make that assertion. Today I have no fears in warning you folks 30 years younger than I that if you aren't having fun in your vocation as well as your avocation, you'd better get into an analytical huddle with it, for you face a dangerous situation. I enjoy subdividing the ideal life into three plateaus: the informative and creative constructive, and the harvest. Slight or mistreat any one of them, and you're in for disaster. Lurking in some remote cerebral hideaway is a fecund faculty over which you have no control except dangerous denial. I refer to the misty memory cells which we never quite escape, particularly if they shame us. The second plateau is the one you live with in the rewarding harvest plateau. Memories will ever be projected onto life's motion picture screen for enjoyment or dismay. They have but two functions: to haunt or to reward. Your crowning folly during the period you are sowing is to miss the fun in sowing and lose the rewarding fun in the harvest. By this time it should be clear as crystal which plateau you will support your gold medallion tower of crowning reward. For if the constructive plateau hasn't been fun, your memory movies may be bitterness. What a disastrous harvest. Sometimes I wonder if the great controller of our destinies has used a discriminating wisdom in denying so many of us the dawning light of a glorious sunrise when we step forth on the high plateau. For the harvest years should be a thing of beauty, a joy forever. And if you haven't earned it, it wouldn't be worth living for, anyway. Perhaps that's why so many fail to get up here. Moral: have fun. P.S. It's been fun having this chat with you. A package of premises and prerogatives. Whether you believe in God or not, perforce you must believe in a Creator, some force far and above any tenable concept that human mind can tolerate or even entertain, caused the beginning of the fantastic processes scientific mind of man conceives as life on planet Earth. Now, with such far-out considerations as that, no average mind is fitted to cope. We need an organized, trained, illumined brain of an Einstein, hypertrophied to the nth altitude through the agents we call use, even to imagine the contours of such a creator's force. Even such a great mental capacity would fall short and be overwhelmed in a sea of frustration, for we humans are shrouded in a veil which limits our perception, which, should we ever succeed in penetrating it, would make of us gods. Why, we have to begin by accepting premises we cannot even explain. For example, consider the following. Inanimate things are destroyed by use. Living creations grow by use, and conversely can be destroyed by misuse. Now, who or what ever set up such an order? For upon this law depends the whole structure, the very existence of life. It is to our profit to just give up at the start any attempt to deal with the why. Admit the premise as an imperative law of nature, whoever or whatever that force may be, and use and develop our minds to consider the how. Human patterns have ensured that this law approaches but never quite reaches infinity as its limit. Or shall we just say that there exists no limit for the development or capacity of the human brain through use? Consider the seed, how it grows. It toils not, neither does it spin. It just grows into a one-cell mollusk, a towering redwood, or a human being. Of the three, only one has complete control of how or how much growth will be, because only man possesses the gift of thinking, directing, and resolving mental power. In 1 century, I have seen man create motivation on a fantastic network of speedways by mechanical devices capable of speeds up to 200 miles per hour, and in the atmosphere fly at his own chosen altitude at speeds exceeding that of the sound waves. And in unlimited space, beyond our tiny layer of atmosphere, at speeds which may someday even exceed that of light. Who can predict what Century 21 will bring through the use of man's mind? Speed, as we know its limitation, may approach infinity. But this feature, mammoth as it is is one way man's mind has demonstrated the power of use. We sit in our modest homes and listen to philharmonic marvels of soul-inspiring music on the opposite side of our planet. We witness scenes of thrilling conquests, frightening destruction, or men walking on another heavenly body hundreds of thousands of miles distant. A mere half-century has brought us this fantastic agora, a marketplace with no restraint for the human imagination, and yet withal it cannot compare with the seed. And you, friend, are limited only by what you determine to learn. Each of us is endowed with such an instrument at birth, varying only in degree of improvement or development by use, with perhaps lapsed time a consideration as an agency for limitation. For even the mongoloid brain can be indulged in development features given use and time enough. And when we are dealing with infinity, that realm, who can define a limitation of the growth factor? Of course, most of us are lucky enough not to be so equipped. Who or what controls luck? Just another premise to measure our utility value. You and I have two courses of action to choose from. One, just to say, what's the use? It's too tough for me. Or two, answer so absurd an interrogation by employing our brains by use creatively, aim at construction rather than destruction. Recognition of these two antonyms to choose is the first step in either direction, progression or degression. Fortune, another imponderable, however, has given us an ultimate chance, digression, by which at any time during the life period we can about face as we wish. And that just about puts it up to you and me. And our blessing is that neither age nor sex need have anything to do with it. The opportunity is forever existent. You and I are doomed in but one way. We shall progress, degress, or digress, any way you look at it. But we can choose our particular doom. So, pick a path. Accept thankfully this ultimate premise, my friend. It is your Christmas gift or your New Year's resolution. You've even got a choice there. We have named for you the premises. It is your privilege to select your own prerogative.